This is 5 on your side at 5. Focused on you.
At least 18 people are dead and more than a dozen hurt following a shooting in the state of Maine. Tonight, police are still looking for the shooter. Thanks so much for joining us. I'm Kelly Jackson.
And I'm Mike Bush. Police say 40-year-old Robert Card opened fire at a bar and bowling alley. The shootings happened around 7 last night in the town of Lewiston near Portland. Here's Mike Valerio with the latest.
I suggest that you go. We have an active shooter, and we're not sure where he's at.
A tight-knit community on edge, a shelter-in-place ordered in multiple towns in Maine as heavily armed officers search for what they say is an armed and dangerous killer.
There is now arrest warrants for murder for this particular individual, Mr. Card. So he is viewed as a suspect, and there is a full court press by all of our partners to bring him into custody.
Police advise that Maine people should not approach him under any circumstances.
Chilling surveillance images released show the moments the mass shooting suspect's deadly rampage began. First at a local bowling alley hosting a youth night for a kids' bowling league, and then traveling about 4 miles to the second scene at a restaurant.
Place to go have a good time and have fun. And then we get somebody that's crazy like that walk in and do what they did, you know.
I never thought I'd grow up and get a bullet in my leg. Like, why do people do this?
According to law enforcement, the suspect, 40-year-old Rob Card, is a military-trained arms instructor who suffers from several mental health issues, including hearing voices, and made threats to shoot up a National Guard base. He'd been committed to a mental health facility over the summer.
Nerves are rattled right now.
In Lewiston, Maine, Mike Valerio, 5 on your side.
Tonight on NBC Nightly News, after our newscast, Lester Holt anchors live from Maine. And tonight, he hears from the father of a man who learned his son was one of the victims.
Joey Walker was shot to death at Schmiggy's. Shot to death, but then he went into telling her that he died as a hero because he picked up a butcher knife from somewhere, you know, he has all that stuff near the bar anyways. And he tried to go at the gunman to stop him from shooting anybody else. The gunman shot him twice through the stomach.
Does it change your pain at all?
Oh.
Knowing that?
It made it worse. Yeah, it made it worse.
We'll also continue updating this story on air on the 5 on Your Side app and online at KSDK.com.
Now let's talk about our weather. We had some showers around the bi-state. Our Weather First team is tracking more rain through the weekend. Let's check in with meteorologist Jim Castillo. Hey, Jim.
Yeah, hi, Kelly and Mike. So we are still in that drought situation, so we need the rain. We've had a few showers around, and right now around St. Louis County, a couple, sprinkles, light showers popping up. A little bit more yellow, which are bigger drops in western St. Charles County and to Lincoln County, Missouri, Calhoun County, Illinois. So you might get a brief downpour there. Now, the potential for rainfall ramps up as we get into later Saturday night into Sunday and early Monday. And southeast of the metro, 1 to 2 inches plus. But even some good rainfall amounts here. So warm tomorrow, spotty storms, partly sunny, and high temperatures close to a record, about 84. And then some rain Saturday into Sunday, very chilly, by the way. Hard freeze for Tuesday and Wednesday morning. And I wanted to point this out, like Scotty was talking about, the growing season will end with this cold weather coming. So bring the potted plants inside and disconnect your garden hose and drain it. Much more on those temperatures coming up.
See you then, Jim. And for our latest Weather First forecast, text the word weather to 314-425-5355.
In just over an hour, a controversial policy will be presented at the Francis Howell School District Board meeting.
It would require students to use the restroom or locker room that matches the sex on their birth certificates. Justina Cornell heard from those on both sides of the issue, and she is live from the school's administration building. Justina.
Yeah, so while both sides may not be able to see eye to eye, it's safe to say that both sides are passionate about the topic that will be discussed at 6:30 tonight. Now, on the agenda is Board Policy 2116. Now, this would require students using bathrooms or locker rooms determined by the sex marker on the student's birth certificate. It also proposes each school within the district to provide a minimum one single-use restroom and this can have signage indicating use by more than one sex. Now, the policy notes students who use the single-use restroom should not be harassed or retaliated against. Now, earlier today, I spoke to Francis Howell Families, a group in favor of this policy, and I also chatted with the mom with a trans teen in the district. She's with the organization Transparent USA.
A mother I spoke to last spring who had a daughter that was uncomfortable going into the bathroom at Francis Howell North because there was a boy at that time going in.
That is why they're putting this policy in place, or attempting to put this policy in place, so that our students are not interacting in a way with their students.
Now, the first reading for this policy will be happening tonight at 6:30. I'm told after that there could be conversations and possible changes to the policy, and it could be up for a vote in November at its next board meeting. Reporting live, Christina Cornell, 5 on your side.
Tonight, a senior living facility is trying to find shelter for residents following a fire that killed an 82-year-old woman. That fire happened at Touche Regional Hospital in Cahokia Heights yesterday. Today, the victim was identified as Judy St. John. She died of cardiac arrest. 5 other residents are in the hospital. 21 residents are staying at a Red Cross shelter. The facility is also trying to find temporary housing and assisted living facilities and hotels for residents who are displaced. The cause of that fire is still under investigation.
A missing teen from North Carolina was found safe in Kirkwood. Police say they were investigating a suspicious vehicle in Lowe's parking lot off of Interstate 44 last night. Inside, they found 30-year-old Christopher James Porter and the teen. Porter is also a convicted sex offender. The two met on anonymous social messaging apps, and the teen said she wanted to run away. Porter drove from Oklahoma and picked her up from North Carolina. He's facing several charges in St. Louis County, including statutory rape and child pornography.
School leaders at Lift for Life Academy in St. Louis say they're celebrating a small win after a dispensary being built directly across the street dropped plans for a drive-through window.
5 on your side's Holden Kerwicki is live and Sue Lard with the latest on this developing situation.
Well, Kelly and Mike, when I spoke with school leaders this morning, they told me they were relieved at that decision. However, that dispensary is still being built across the street, so they're urging city leaders to make a change. Under Missouri law, dispensaries are legally required to be at least 1,000 feet away from schools, churches, or daycares, but local governments are allowed to set their own rules. In 2020, the St. Louis Board of Aldermen dropped the distance requirement in the city of St. Louis. Though that decision predates Mayor Tashara Jones's administration, a spokesperson told me today they are reviewing it to determine the best steps forward to ensure they can address the concerns of the community.
Let's do something to change this regulation, this law, and not just for Live for Life Academy, but so that you don't open this up in any other area where schools or students are being educated.
I reached out to the ownership group for Kind Goods Dispensary for comment on this story, but they have yet to respond to my request. I'm being told that the students at Live for Life are actually organizing a protest of the dispensary, but at this time, no date for that protest has been set in stone. Reporting live in Soulard, Holden Kerwicki, 5 on your side.
Israel expands its war against Hamas in Gaza, why there's an international push to pause the attack.
Remembering a fallen Illinois police officer, how the community is honoring him 2 years after his death.
Tonight, our Verify team looks into campaign funds, what a candidate can do with the money once they leave a race.